Hi guys, so my house is a bit of a mess at the moment, so I am filming in this little corner. Today I wanted to make a video talking about sensory deprivation, talking about what it is, how I found out about it and my experiences with it. So you may be wondering what sensory deprivation is, and I have my phone here and I'm basically going to read you the first part that I searched on Google. I typed in what is sensory deprivation and the first thing that comes up is this. It says a process by which someone is deprived of normal external stimuli such as sight and sound for an extended period of time, especially as an experimental technique in psychology. Now you may or may not have heard of sensory deprivation tanks. When I first heard about it, I was a little bit freaked out by the whole idea. Basically, I found out about it through Joe Rogan. I happened to be searching his podcasts on YouTube, and I found this one that he was talking about sensory deprivation tanks, and I was really curious, and the way he spoke about it made me really interested. So of course I started looking it up, I started searching on YouTube people that have done it, and I got pretty hooked on the idea. And the first thing that I did was I searched for a place locally that had the sensory deprivation tanks. So what is a sensory deprivation tank? Basically, I will read you something again off Google. It says, an isolation tank is a lightless, soundproof tank inside which subjects float in salt water at skin temperature. Such tanks are now used for meditation, relaxation and alternative medicine. Initial isolation tanks were uncomfortable. Users were entirely submerged in the tank, which required them to wear a breathing apparatus and tight clothing. Users complained that the discomfort from the mask and clothing distracted from the isolation experience, and that complete submersion led to fear of drowning. In current tanks, users are not submerged, instead they float. This is done with a solution of Epsom salt that increases water density, allowing the human body to float. Users float face up in a relaxed position, with the face above the water and ears submerged. This reduces the user's hearing, particularly when using earplugs as protection against the salt water. Users are encouraged to let their arms float to the side to further reduce skin sensation. This occurs because the air and water are the same temperature as the skin, and the feeling of body boundary fades. The user's sense of smell is also greatly reduced, especially if the water has not been treated with chlorine. The density of the water prevents rolling over even if asleep. So basically, in the tank it is filled halfway with water, and it has a large amount of Epsom salts in it, which allows your body to float. Also, the water is at body temperature, which means when you go in the tank and you lie down and you float in the water, after a while you cannot feel the water, which makes you feel like you are floating. Now what's really cool about this also is that the tanks are pitch black, which means you cannot see anything, you cannot feel anything, because the temperature of the water is the same as your body, so it makes you feel like you're floating. And you can't hear or smell anything because you have earphones, like little earplugs in your ears to protect from the salt water, which means you can hear your heartbeat. If you ever put your fingers in your ears or you've worn earplugs, you'll know that you can hear your heartbeat. So this is a really interesting experience. Other names for sensory deprivation is flotation tank, rest tank, think tank, isolation chamber. So you may be wondering what they look like. It varies. I think mostly the ones in America are more scary looking, I think, personally. They look like this is the one that Joe Rogan has. He actually has one in his house, and to me it looks more like a coffin, and I can imagine if my first experience was in one like that, I probably would have been pretty nervous about getting in it. However, the one that I went in was called the Pod, and it was a lot more appealing, and it actually looks like this. You get in and the lid closes down and you are in there then, and in the one that I went in, there was a button on the inside to open the lid if I needed to, and also one that turned off the lights. I have been in the float tank 4 times. The first time I did it, I was in the Pod, which is what I just showed you, which is much more appealing, even though the first time doing it, it's very nerve-wracking, simply because you're on your own, you're getting into something that's going to shut down on you, so you're going to be enclosed in something. It's going to be pitch black and you're not going to be able to hear anything, and you're not going to be able to smell anything, and the whole thought is quite crazy and quite scary and frightening to comprehend, really. Joe Rogan explains the deprivation tank as almost like a psychedelic experience, and he has explained that it's like an onion, where when you go in there you're going through layers and layers and layers of yourself, and the longer you're in there and the more used to it you get, the easier you get at peeling off the layers of the onion and getting to yourself more, like to your core, and having more of a big experience. So I'm going to talk you through my first experience. My first experience I actually did with my mum. Obviously you can't fit 2 people in the Pod. I went to a place in Bristol which is called Back in Action. It's a shop that has got like loads of chairs and things designed for your back, like for office space and things like that. But downstairs they have 2 flotation tanks. One is a Pod and the other is called a chamber, and the chamber you can actually fit 2 people. It's a bit bigger, well, it's almost like 2 double bed sizes. It's quite big, so if you're in there on your own you are likely to like turn around and stuff in there. Like when you're floating you're likely to spin around or whatever, because you've got that much more space, whereas in the Pod you're more like just led there and you can almost touch the sides, but you're not going to turn around up the other way around, if you know what I mean. So I was a bit nervous about going in the chamber, and I really wanted to experience the Pod because I heard that it was textured on the inside, which when you're in it gives you a feeling of like you're back in the womb. So I was really interested to try that out, and my mum was brave enough to try the chamber on her own, so that's what we did. We both had, I think it was 40 minutes or 45 minute session in there, and when you get there there's a little rack that's got earplugs, Vaseline, and there's like a comfort pillow to put around your neck, and what else was there? Can't really remember. There was a shower in there too. They say to shower and give yourself a wash before you get in, obviously because of like hygiene purposes, and then you put the earplugs in, and if you have any cuts or scrapes or anything like that, that's what you use the Vaseline on, because you're going into salt water, into Epsom salts, so if you have anything like a cut it's going to sting, so that's why they recommend putting on Vaseline. And so yeah, I did all that sort of stuff. You have to go in fully naked. You can wear swimwear, but if you wear swimwear you feel restricted, and when you're floating you can actually feel that on your body. So they say that to have the best float you want to be completely naked, so you can't feel anything on your body, and it gives you the best experience. So I got in naked and I got in the water, and I couldn't believe how quickly like my legs just lifted up and I floated straight away. And I just sort of lay there for a minute and just wanted to get comfortable and get used to my surroundings before I shut the lid. I won't lie, I was shitting myself about closing the lid. Anybody would be, I think, for your first ever go. So yes, I just got used to being in there and just feeling, you know, the water and stuff like that. And then I pressed the button on the inside and the lid closed down on me. My heart rate did increase when that happened, and I had to spend, I think, at least 5 minutes just calming down my heart rate because it was beating out of my chest. So I found it, after a while, I started to get a little bit of discomfort on my neck because I just felt like my head was sort of back, because you're totally floating, and it was just a weird feeling, and my neck started to ache. So I opened the pod back up with the button on the inside, and I got out the little cushion and put that around my neck, got back in, closed the lid, and that instantly felt so much better. So then I was in there and I was quite comfortable, and at this stage I hadn't actually turned the lights off. The lights had like little LEDs at the bottom where my feet were, and it wasn't really bright, it was just a little bit of light so you could see the inside of the pod and you could see yourself in there. And so I was just trying to calm my heart rate down, and then thinking to myself, trying to persuade myself to turn off the light and be like, look, if you turn the light off, it's still going to be the same, nothing's going to change, you're still in this pod, nothing's going to happen to you. So I got over my fear of that and I switched the light off, and then the whole experience began. So I am led there, floating in water. I can't feel the water and I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, I can't smell anything, and something really amazing happens, and it's really hard to explain if you haven't been in one. You just feel really weird, like you just feel like you've gone to outer space or something like that. At one point I did actually feel like I had died, and it wasn't a frightening thing. I was just led there thinking, oh my god, I think I'm dead. You know, I couldn't feel anything. I just lost all track of time. That's one thing that happens when you're in there. You don't know whether you've been in there 5 minutes, an hour, a whole day. You honestly lose all sense of time. 1 minute could feel like an hour in there, and it's really, really weird, but at the same time really, really amazing too. So I was like, oh my god, I'm dead, and then I was like, wait, no I'm not, and my focus come back to the pod and what was going on and where I was. And it's really hard to switch off and to let your mind just completely go, because your mind has nothing to focus on. So it kind of goes a little AWOL to start with. It's sort of like freaking out, and then you get to this real like stillness and calmness, and it's just peaceful and you're just there. And at one point, like, I forgot who I was, I didn't know what my name was, I didn't know what was going on or what life was. I was just floating and I was in nothing basically. And then I started to get like I started to see things and feel things, and I started to feel like my fingers were growing because I was led with my arms by my side, and I could feel like my fingers were really, really long. They felt like they were like that long, and that was really weird. And then I started to see shadows on the pod, on the inside of the wall of the pod, well, not the wall but the lid, and it was like, it was almost like other dimensional beings that I could see, and it felt like they were on the outside of the pod, and that did almost frighten me a little bit. But I've had experiences with a lot of things before, and I kind of know just to go with it and not to be too frightened. So it was really interesting, and I would have like all these beautiful colours that I could see, and I could see like symbols and just so much. and it was all like little bits, and then I come back to being where I was, and then I drift off and then I come back. And I think the whole thing about with the sensory deprivation tank is trying to get to the point where you peel all the layers off, like off an onion, like what Joe Rogan said, and getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it, because it's so easy, one little thing and your mind is straight back to where you are, and you really want to drift off and have a full experience. And I can honestly say that my first experience was amazing, and I come out and I met my mum outside, and she'd been in the chamber, and it was amazing. It was just, we couldn't stop talking about it, and not only that, but the benefits of Epsom salts and stuff is really, really beneficial for like your skin, your mind. It's just amazing stuff. So overall, it was just such an amazing experience, and when I come out, I was already talking about next time when I was going to come back. Like, I couldn't wait to come back and have a second experience in there. I think they say something like if you have an hour's float, it equals to about 4 hours of sleep. So when you come out, you feel really, really energized. You feel like you've taken a really big nap. And the guy in the shop that we spoke to, he had done it a few times, and he was interested to hear what our experiences was. And he actually said in one country, and I can't remember which country it was, I think it might have been Norway, but he said that in one country, and I think it was Norway, that they actually sleep in them because they get such like so much energy. So if you imagine sleeping for hours in there, you're probably gonna have like something stupid like 2 days worth of sleep, so you wake up feeling super fresh and energized. And I just think that's absolutely insane, but absolutely amazing at the same time. I will try and link in the description Joe Rogan's podcast on it, because the way he spoke about it really made me want to do it. And if it's something that you're interested in, then definitely check it out. There's flotation centres everywhere. They're more in America than they are in the UK, and I noticed there is quite a lot in London, but I'm quite far away from London, so it was a little bit difficult for me to find somewhere, but I did manage to find somewhere and have a good experience. And after I did it once, I did it another 3-4 times. Yeah, it's such a great experience, and I can't wait to have another experience doing it again, because it's something that I want to save up, put some money back each week, and perhaps have like a monthly float. It is incredible, and I definitely recommend it. It's great for stress. It's amazing for meditation because there's no distractions whatsoever, and yeah, it's just a really cool concept, and I think you can benefit from it a lot, and you can learn about yourself a lot from it. I am pretty sure that there's probably tons of stuff that I've missed out of this video, because it was a little while ago that I did it, and you know, when you're on the spot and you're doing a video, you go to edit it, and then after you're like, damn, there's so much that I missed, like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. So that's gonna happen, I'm sure, but I just wanted to put it out there in case you didn't know about it. And yeah, check it out. If you don't know who Joe Rogan is, check him out too. He's awesome. I love him. He just speaks so much sense. But yeah, I'll leave some links down in the description, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and that I didn't ramble too much. And yeah, I will see you very soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.